Hi everyone, my name is Georgia and this is my colleague Allison. We're from Options for Community Living, Long Island. Long Island. And we're going to be discussing the use of HHAP in a suburban environment. Allison's program has developed a housing with HHAP. I oversee the mental health program, and we have not, but I will actually be talking about some of the challenges of developing in suburban areas. First, I'm going to give a little description. I see some friends in the audience, so I know that some of you are familiar with who we are and what we do. But our mission statement is actually, it's very, very simple. It's short and simple. What we do is we help individuals and families in need to develop their potential for independent living. We prepare people for demands and responsibilities of community life, and we promote housing permanency, health, safety, and welfare. We were founded in 1982 as an OMH licensed housing program with the community residents. And then we developed a supported housing program for individuals with mental illness, a homeless shelter program for families, and we later developed a COBRA Medicaid case management program for individuals and families with HIV/AIDS, and later developed a supportive housing program under the community follow-up program, also for people with HIV/AIDS, and we recently extended into the Health Home Network Care Coordination Program. The total, just to give you a size of the agency, and I believe this makes us small. I think that's why we are considered a small, developing small in suburbs and other communities. Our total number of beds in the mental health program is we have 349 beds at 100 properties. And the community follow-up program is 68 units, not necessarily beds, because there are families. So there are 68 units, families and singles, and 68 units, and we also recently acquired 7 MRT beds. Overall, our specialty is working with people with mental illness and people with HIV, and most recently the high need MRT, the beds. And all of our housing in Suffolk and Nassau County they are independent, scattered site, single and two-family sites. So we are not in any garden complexes, no apartment buildings. We are all, that does not look good. Okay. All our housing is in actual houses. What we provide as an agency is case management, care coordination. We do all of our work through home visits. In addition to the services, we're big on safety inspections. Our compliance department, our quality improvement department is, always running us with, checks and forms, and we do a lot of safety inspections because, as you can imagine, with a whole house, there's a lot to check. We do crisis intervention, of course, maintenance and repair, and we provide referrals and linkages, advocacy and support, and we focus on housing retention. So these are some of our houses. I don't know if you can see them that well. These are 2 examples of some of the mental health supported housing houses. In the suburb, tree-lined streets, 3 people in one of these houses. They're nice houses, but they do require a lot of upkeep. So I was thinking one of the goals of this workshop was to discuss the features of suburban development. And how many of you here do work in suburbs? Like CR? Okay. So you'll know what I'm talking about. I see my friends from way back there. So as I mentioned, the model is we are all scattered sites and 3 tenants per house. The reason I used to get I used to sit on the board of ACL for many years, and I would hear my colleagues from Upper New York talk about the singles, the supported housing singles. And I would always regret that we really we can't do that on Long Island. It's too cost prohibitive. That's why for us to do supported housing with the OMH stipend of, what is it, it's 15,100 something per year, we couldn't afford that. A one-bedroom, we don't have many studios on Long Island, and a one-bedroom apartment, I don't know exactly what the fair market rent is, but I know that a one-bedroom apartment is about $1,200 a month. So we really are prohibited from doing singles. So we do have the shared housing. And I would like to put the positive spin on the shared housing, but there are some problems with that as well. The positive spin is that sometimes, more often than not, people do live as a family, and they rely on each other for support. They eat together as a family, they support each other, they just live as a family. The other side of that, however, is sometimes, you're taking three strangers who have lived independently, or maybe they haven't lived independently successfully, taking three strangers, putting them in one house, and again, the problems you can imagine with conflict resolution, which you would not see I hope you wouldn't see in a single site supported housing program. The other problem, I showed you the photos of some of our houses, and they are lovely. However, they are right next door to other houses. They're right in the middle. They're in developments. They're in cul-de-sacs. They're out there. So we do have that challenge of managing the neighborhood. Some of our programs, the school bus stop is right in our driveway. I'm thinking of a few houses where the neighbors are right there, the kids are right there. So we have to really keep appearances up. And one of the other problems is that we do have the lack of public transportation on Long Island. So that does make helping people get to where they need to be a little more difficult. I mentioned the public displays, even not only the upkeep of the house, but also, the ambulances, the police, mobile crisis unit, when they come, when you're right smack in a cul-de-sac, everyone's out there looking. So that's a challenge as well. We've managed to develop our supported housing program. We provide one visit per week to the site. Now, I know the OMH requirement, I believe, is probably once a month. That's how the model is developed. But we do once a week visits. And we're able to do that because there are three people in one house. So we're going to the house, we're visiting the house, and we're visiting all three people there. Sometimes some residents take more attention than the other two, but it all works out. And we also are close, all of our scattered site programs are also close to each of our supervised community residences. So we offer support. We have 6 supervised community residences throughout Suffolk County, and we provide support in that way. And these are 2 of our other supported housing sites. The one on the bottom is are these both HUD 11? The one on the bottom is handicapped accessible. I just want to explain a little bit how we develop these projects. I just mentioned the HUD 11. The majority of our homes are secured through, we now have a total of 15, we've successfully completed 15 HUD 11 projects, and we've survived. After the first few, it was...
After the first 14 now.
After the first 14, right now it's easy. We have another one in the hopper right now. Well, we're finalizing completion on. And then we also, of course, we do have some that are strictly OMH funded. We've also received home funds, and we also received assistance, local assistance from the Islip Community Development Agency, ICDA. And we also, we're always looking and we're getting help wherever we can. We recently, I don't know, was it 2 years ago? We applied for the HUD Green Retrofit Program, which that was a joy also applying for, but that enabled us to, we were able to identify some sites and did complete energy savings overhauls. We solar panels, what else? Weatherization, complete, top to bottom, and that really has helped. And those were on the HUD, some of the HUD sites. That was great. In terms of services, so we have, those are the homes, and the services are provided through OMH funds, and also we have come to rely a great deal on the OTDA funds, which have enabled us to deliver services. The goal is, I mentioned before, the goal is housing retention. So we want to keep people as healthy and safe and as safe as possible. So we do rely a lot on the OTDA funds for other services. In the mental health program, we are our occupancy rate is 98%, and out of those, 47% participate in vocational educational programs throughout the year. One of our other outcomes that we're very, very proud about is that 83% successfully take medication independently. And also of people who have left the program, 70% have moved on to greater independence. And I just mentioned before that the OTDA services have allowed us to hire services, to provide services that we normally would not have had the ability to, such as we have a healthcare facilitator who helps residents translate and follow through with doctor's orders. She runs self-care groups. She helps residents interpret doctor's orders and provides linkages to specialized medical services. And also through the OTDA award, we have life skills case managers who do things like help residents with financial self-sufficiency, educational groups, budgeting, and just in general organizing their lives. So that's bringing it all together. That's how we make it happen. And now Allison's going to speak about the program she oversees.
I don't know how much time we have left.
How much?
Allison, we'll give you 5 minutes.
Okay, so that's the
The less the better. I get nervous talking in public, so I want a tendency to crack jokes. And Georgia and I have been working together for almost 30 years, so we like to tell people we
Believe it?
grew
Believe it?
grew up at Options and still look the same. We tell ourselves.
We do. We look at pictures. Today's Throwback Thursday, so we need some of those old pictures.
So, hi everybody. Again, I'm Allison Covino. I'm the director of our community follow-up program, which provides, actually now we started as a COBRA Medicaid case management program in 1994, and that program was recently converted a couple of years ago into the Health Home Care Coordination Program. So now we're serving many more clients. I think we're almost up to 600 clients on Long Island for people with chronic illnesses. But when we started as an HIV program, I feel so fortunate. I've been thinking all morning about opportunities we've had that have come along that have helped us to develop. And I worked first in our mental health program for 7 years with Georgia, and we sort of drew from our experiences there. We sort of pulled out some of the housing and development and case management experience and applied to become a Medicaid COBRA case management program. And then very quickly, it felt like a year later, found out about some HUD McKinney-Vento funding for people with, for homeless families and individuals, and we decided to put an application in for HIV housing because there wasn't really enough on Long Island and not many providers going for that type of housing. So we put that in. So we really started to grow from there and add one thing at a time. We used some HOPWA funding for matching funds because HUD McKinney-Vento funding, you have to match it. So that helped us with some of the match for acquisition and development, and we have some HOPWA units that we applied for and received grants for separately that just did the purchase and acquisition. Our HAP funding and this is all the same population for my program. We're all just developing individual and single-family houses for people with HIV and AIDS that are homeless or inappropriately housed prior to coming to us. So our HAP houses are 2 separate programs, 4 and 4, so 8 units of family housing, actually, for people with HIV and AIDS who were formerly homeless or inappropriately housed. Proud to say we still have some of our original tenants. I mean, I think we go back to, 2002, they've been living with us for a long time. I think back when the AIDS crisis began, none of us really expected clients to be with us this long, but we've been so fortunate that they've become healthier, that their housing has participated in helping to stabilize their health, and they're still with us. So we are really proud of that. We've also gotten some matching funds through HOME, the Office of Housing and Homeless Services, through Federal Home Loan Bank. All of these were part of the development and the services. Some of our HUD programs have operating support, and the others do not. Our HAP programs do not have operating support. So we've been able to match some services through our care coordination programs, with case management, or with, we have a state grant through the AIDS Institute that allows us to do some housing placement assistance. That's been recently converted into a MRT subsidy grant only last year. So that's where we get our support from, some of which. And some of our OTDA funding, we also have the NISHIP that Georgia mentioned. Did I just hit the arrow?
Just hit the arrow.
So I think my biggest point, I guess, that I wanted to make today was all about the leveraging, because right now so many providers and agencies, and there's so much collaboration going on. I think we just heard at the ACL conference a couple weeks ago all about collaboration, and we've sort of been able to do that internally because it's what helps the program succeed. So if we didn't have the support from NISHIP, if we didn't have the support from AIDS Institute grants, we wouldn't be able to provide the support for the clients that are living in the houses. And as Georgia mentioned, the retention is so key to success, and we really want them to be able to stay. So we offer case management or health home care coordination to all of our clients. We have private grant support that we try to just piece together. We even have a staff person that recently that was hired, a half-time case manager that was supported through a Newsday grant. And this is our pictures of our HAP housing sites. As I mentioned, they're somewhat older, but still around. Our housing assistance, we're able to provide monies to help people get housed, to maintain housing, and our long-term subsidies are in place. We just started in October of last year. We have 7 people now that we're supporting in the community, and in all of our programs, as I mentioned, the case management, the care coordination, the housing retention services are what help people to access and maintain it. And in that process, their independent living skills development just helps people maximize their self-sufficiency. We help people budget, parenting skills, decision-making, problem-solving, housing, maintenance. We have peer support meetings and transportation assistance. That's just a little bit more about our rent subsidy. And again, bringing it all together. In our program, we had a 97.37% occupancy rate, served 82 clients. 82% of them paid rent and utilities on time. We served 174 clients and placed 64 people through our service programs into independent housing, and have pretty much like an overall 97% satisfaction rate with staff services in the housing program. We're proud of that. This is just some referral information for us.
And this will all be on the web, the whole PowerPoint. We
Yes.
didn't make hard copies, but everything will be on the Shinny website.
Any questions?
Or we're going to do questions
Sure, okay.
after.
After? Sure. Thank you.